let me take you through my thought process sitting here. Um, I thought cool that there's kind of triangular shapes to some of the stones. And I came back and saw, oh, there's kind of like a pyramidal shape. It's nice. And I was thinking about Buddhism. And it was like a stream of thoughts that I realized were probably better served constituting a joke. Um, when I suggested to myself that if somebody asked me what religion I was, I suppose I could say that I'm Buddhist, but, and it would sound very pompous, I don't really go for Orthodox Buddhism any more than I go for Christianity. But I like some things about it, and then proceed to say what they are, which are really just my opinions on being peaceful, which may or may not actually have anything to do with Buddhism. And that was kind of like colon. Now you can be honest. Now you're free. Go, be free, like the butterfly that floated by. And I looked over the woods, and I got this feeling and sensation like the trees were talking to me. And it was like the face of Jesus was carved into the side of a tree. And he wasn't hanging there because he was tortured. He was hanging there because the tree is actually made of the Son of God, the Son of the heavens. The trees are made of sunlight. And what a great way to access that solar energy in our minds through trees. So trees have the sun's own interest in our minds and bodies. And I think trees become not just the source of our shelter, but also a paper for our books, but symbols, more than that, of knowledge and communication and the organization of knowledge, which is also very Saturnalian. You know, Saturn has rings, so does nature. Nature rings with the sun. The way it also rings with the order and laws of Saturn, or of the father of the law. The giver of the law. The mother of the law, the giver of knowledge. For we take nothing away from people's search for knowledge. And the grandeur, skill, luck, discipline, passion, and genius, and misfortune that goes with all of the technology and industrial development of man. That's like, it's very easy to take that for granted because we enjoy the fruits of it. We know little to nothing of the sacrifice itself. Hence the giving factor, hence the giving and generosity. And those who could and those that were able to, what God did they thank? Well, the giver of such things. Maybe the spirit of their own father, themselves, their flesh and blood, their mother. We have this life, tremulous or not, that it may be, that has given us something. And I see in the Buddha, and I see in the face of the man, Jesus, or the father of the earth, or the son of man, or the son of God, in the son of the language of creation, and the mother of that son, the mother of that language, the mother of all that is born. For all that is sound forth has been born, and all that is sound is eternal. It is a language of eternity, not life and then nothing. Not life then nothing. This life then nothing in Christianity, life then death and judgment, is not life and death and judgment. It's tides, seasons of the sound of our own minds, of the hot and cold and living, of all the labors of life and everything we work to find acceptable and everything we look to survive, and where it brings us together and quite often where it pushes us apart. And what epics that we will not know. That not a human being on this earth has not been tried to the utmost and then tried again and again and again. Like the very cliffs on the edges of our seas. There are people made of stone and made of trees. We use them to travel the world. To learn even how to travel by sea. And look at how the different cultures have treated that. And who still maintain crafts of boat building and who doesn't, made of wood. That's kind of interesting. Anywhere, right? And not to pit one culture against another, but I think that's pretty cool. I've said earlier that I thought Jesus probably was a shipwright. If we can make Jesus out to be whatever we want, a shipwright, a merchant, a world traveler, at least for the area, multilinguistic, very human, personable, and living in a culture that probably would have vaunted his ability to travel and share stories, because news itself would have been a currency in itself, news of the world. In what is arguably, in retrospect, the cradle of civilization. And those who know the world best What do they get the most out of the world? They get the most out of the cradle of the next civilization. Let us be people of culture. Let us be world traveled as we can without even leaving our own town. But let us be cultured, for there are those who travel the world who never learn anything new. For as it has been said, they never see with new eyes. And the stuff that hurts and the stuff that rides us, this is the stuff that makes us think. And no man or woman should think that she's alone in the congress of the labors of man to find this world more acceptable. To find more of the world as it's meant to be and not the world that isn't. To take on the incredible burden of learning to endure such a world and not having the luxury to sit back and comment upon it, that it should be just so on our behalf. But nor do we move about the commonplace without the faith that it desperately yearns to be that. It would be better if it were. It'd be better if it suited the tastes of everyone. But the only person and place that can do that is each person. I can't imagine a rich person today or yesterday or tomorrow who wouldn't have a place like this to go and sit for several hours a day. I can't imagine an intelligent, sensitive human being who has not benefited in any way, however arduous their life, by being close to nature in ways they may not have even been able to enjoy, but that we can. We can enjoy things that were not luxuries, but things that were available when people were busy doing other things, such as connection with nature. The time to do that, the time to be in nature, time, the little amount of time and the quality of time and the fruits of that time in nature are some of the richest that this earth has to offer, wherever you travel. And whether you travel or not, you just travel in your mind. I think, if I may just make a little PSA, just reading paperback novels, one out of the other, like you're chain smoking cigarettes, not so much the cultivation of the mind. A nice, addition, indeed. Writing is an exquisite craft, the likes of which I don't hope to ever distinguish myself professionally in any way. But I've tried enough to know how difficult it is, and so there's really something to that, But as to culturing the mind, I think it's really best to learn one's own language. The person who writes the journal learns a lot more than just the people who read other people's stories. And I'll quote, if I may, the character played by Sean Connery in Finding Forrester, when he plays a distinguished but very retiring author, American author. And he says, as he's teaching this beautiful young actor to give him a boost in getting his writing going, he said, "Isn't it strange that the words we write for others are never nearly as sweet as the words, or sweet, or good, or rich, as the ones we write for ourselves?" And it gives you the only maybe indication in cinema that the most of what a writer wants to do, and he's written for years, is to keep writing what they want to write, irrespective if people want to read it, and really whether they want people to read it. Something to think about.